So short agenda. First item.
Under Tuesday, briefing on the budget lines before the next budget.
Carol will capture them.
And what else there was?
There was one on see if Carol will be with me. It was on this council.
Oh, the full contribution.
Yeah,
And I advise yes.
Yeah.
Very nice.
All right. So Mayor Bailey raised this after our call it deputation from the landscape board. Oh, sorry. So code of practice. That was the next agenda item. We're going to postpone that. So landscape board levy possible LGA AGM motion. Bailey?
Yes, so wondering what thoughts of council. I've got a few thoughts, whether we do a motion that advocates for separating of the state government landscape levy from council rated services. So that would be advocate, or to call on the state government to review and revise the landscape levy reimbursement framework. So for anyone that doesn't know, after the full cost attribution work, I've asked Clive how much the landscape levy costs us to do. And he said around 111,000, but he's still working on figures. It could be down to about 35,000, but it's still, you only get $6,000 income from that. So it's, I don't even think that's 1% of the levies that we pay out. So it wouldn't even cover the EFT fees, bank fees, which should be, you know, state government responsibility. They already have a bill that goes out to all of us in the ESL, and I can't see why they can't just put the landscape levy on there. It seems like back and forward with the LGA, I can't sort of get anything material from them, but I did write to the Deputy Premier last month, and she replied back with, oh, well, you can try and charge us more under this, but you had to really prove the cost. So the EFT, I guess, but that would be a lot of work, trying to work out of the 111, that 10,000 levies who paid what and whatever. So yeah, whether we just call for more the reimbursement to be higher, or whether we just call they take it away. And you consider a direct collection model for landscape levy, or ask for urgent reforms. I guess it's up to council what you want to think about. Does staff have any ideas?
The calculation of full cost attribution, there's kind of many ways you can slice and dice it and follow the methodology about it. So, the rate notice goes out. So you've got printing device preparation, etc. And one way of thinking of it is saying, oh, we've got to send out rate notice anyway. So none of those costs are attributed to it. But then, it's a transaction within the database. So, just with change of ownership, journals required, there's open items which, contain within each instalment that always needs to be amended. And the more charge you have on it, like a service charge, or whether it's Bowhill for the water or TV, or if it's to do with landscape levy, you've got to manage those transactions over and over. And just the same when you go to debt collection, or when you do a Section 184, we're not just collecting the amounts which are generated from services, but we're also the landscape levy. And they were quite. I think we had a presentation, and I can't remember the people that were here from landscape levy, but they said, "Oh, you can claim." Yeah. So if we write off a debt, that's the only way we can claim back off the landscape levy.
Which we might need for those blocks of land.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting exercise if we have to wipe off some of those, and we give them a share of the costs associated with the temporary sale, etc. Yeah.
But for me, it's another way the state government's cost shifting to local government, because if they have to print their own notices, and like I said, they're already doing a notice. So I just don't understand why local government have kept this on our notices, it increases our rates. And even yesterday when we had the shack owners here, they said, what's this RL? You know, like, so they don't even understand that it's not a council charge. So I think why are councils doing it? So like for me, my feeling is a motion to form the state government to take back their levy.
So is there any other councils that have taken this action, or are we breaking new ground?
It's been on and off
Yeah.
discussion. Unfortunately, there was some consultation during the flood, so we didn't put in for the consultation. It seems like LGA have gone back and forth, but like my other discussion, they kind of pick the easy wins, and obviously the state government don't want to do this, and it's hard to even get the opposition support because they were in government for, you know, half of or some of the time that the other party is not in. So it's very difficult position.
It's always been raised with the reforms, both the NRM reform and the landscape reform. It was lobbied strongly by most councils and the LGA to have taken back by state government. But you know, each minister has sort of just said, well, it's easy just to leave it with council.
Disagree. So I think it's time for another big push.
Yeah, especially if it's costing us money.
The question I have, and I think the process that has come up, is it better to get the MRLBA to,
I can have a discussion on that.
yeah, I think we can do it.
Yeah.
And if it's an individual, but I think it'd be a collective approach would probably be.
And all of them would be on the same landscape board as what we are.
Yes,
Yeah,
for most of the times, yeah.
yes.
Versus sort of funds, but
Although I don't think the MRLJ can put in.
no, that's what I'm saying. So, but I think that then it might be supported.
Yep.
We do it, for example, but that's.
But I will say that after I raised the issue with the deputy premier and sent the email, I obviously spoke to the landscape board and said, you know, I'm sorry I was so strong, but I really feel passionate about this. And so I sent them the email that I've sent the deputy premier, and then the LGA, I must have said something when I was in Canberra to one of the policy guys over there, and so he's asked for my letter and he's maybe renewed calls. So I'll also mention it at Sarah on there at the end of the month as well. So.
Is everyone happy with that approach? Just mine will raise it through the MLJ and it's subject to where that lands, then technically we have to leave on. Yeah, sure. Thank you. So the next agenda item is so Councillor War has sent an email around to elected members and provided an example of document the Boyder.
Yes, well, yeah.
So we put it on the agenda for Councillor Lawyers to have a discussion so people can understand the background and intent, and then we can provide some commentary on what we do and what we don't do and what we could do potentially. To do that, so hand over to you, Councillor Lawyers.
Perfect, thank you. Do you want this on or not, Warren? Do I need this on?
Oh, no.
Should be able to hear me, hopefully. I came across this when I was doing a little bit of research, and I just thought this is a great piece of information. As a councillor, I love that it has the grant details, the funding body, descriptions, objectives, how much is available. I looked at it and I went and did the research and sort of just absorbed it, and I thought it was really easy to read, and I just thought it'd be great if we could implement something like this in our council area and in our agenda for a monthly update of where we're sitting and what we're applying for. And the boat ramp situation today, I thought, well, that highlights it again. You know, is there things that we're sort of, I'm not going to say missing, but missing that we could be going back to and checking, and if we can include boat ramps or anything like that, whether we have a wish list and how it sort of fits in. But yeah, it's just something that I thought would be great to see monthly for Mid-Murray Council.
So you could have a kind of intention to apply section as well,
Yeah,
which just is there to be able to say, I suppose, to the public, it's
something that's on
there.
our radar.
Yeah.
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 So just focused on us.
Yeah.
So not community, not the community. which, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we have and Gary will talk, to this, but we have a Smarty Grants or, Grant Guru, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
which we, have access to all of the community groups, to do that. But Gary, do you want me to?
Yeah, look,
Yeah, that's-
I mean, you would have seen in today's agenda under high quality reporting, we have now got grants as one of the, excuse me, headings that we will now report on. So the question is, yeah, whether you feel a monthly or quarterly report is sufficient. Obviously, our executive, we do consider all grants that are out and about in terms of potential alignment with strategic projects. So if you feel that quarterly is sufficient, I would think that I can incorporate it into my quarterly reporting without too much effort on part of staff. One of the key things, obviously, is we're trying to pull back, from community groups in terms of their grant applications. Hence, Grant Guru gives you tips and skills to write grants, while our officers are still available if needed to support groups in terms of writing grants or assisting in grant applications. So it was a focus just on what we as council are chasing and what's suitable for council. And as part of the quarterly reporting, I could incorporate that.
I think that would be really good, yeah.
Yeah.
Would be helpful, and I don't think monthly is long enough for the
I agree.
process,
Yeah.
yeah.
So on our SMT agenda, if, for example, it's the regional precincts and partnership program, we have that on the agenda, we have discussion, we look at the guidelines and say it's not 100% funded, we're not going with it, or there's slow funding, deep roads, 2/3, 1/3, so we're applying for it, we go through that process. So if you're comfortable with that approach, I think that would be probably a.
Yes, I'll do that.
And equally with Grant Guru, we do get community monthly reports, and then we get annual report. So if members are interested, we can circulate those via email, just for your own interest as to what's out there for the community.
Yeah, that'd be great. That's fine.
All right, thank you. Is everyone comfortable with that approach? So we'll just expand the quarterly reporting and be a bit of.
And we can always use Grant Guru ourselves to
Yes,
see what's
yes,
available. So
correct.
I'm not convinced we need a report from you on that personally. I think we can just go and look and see what's available for the community, but for us and
Yeah.
our applications, yeah.
Yeah, Grant Guru is available for anyone. So as elected members, if you want to sort of go and look and see what's available, and then you might be talking to community groups. You can point them to them if they're not already on Grant Guru. Our encouraging community groups now to register for it and have those email notifications.
I guess we just have to remember as elected members that there aren't going to be heaps on there because most grants are 50/50 or, have a contribution. So we're not in that position and we haven't put anything in our long-term financial plan to do capital type projects. The team will let us know if we are on.
Okay. Can I also just comment just on order of that favourite way?
That was it. Cheap seats.
So with the monthly report, that's more letting you know or letting us know how many community are accessing our site and the sort of interaction that they're having with the site. So not what's available, but what the site's doing for.
Yeah.
And then as we go through that community development strategy, and if all of us are bringing it up when we do our council report at the Progress Association meeting, it will be interesting to see if that percentage goes up. See if it's worthwhile for everyone.
All right, thank you. Thank you. That's the end of the agenda.
I know, I was gonna say.
Right.
Good job, Ben.
Right, thank you for your contributions, and as we said, we defer that 30-minute presentation or so to the next one. But if not, that's the end of the day. Thank you very much.